there. Happy Friday. Welcome. We're so glad that y'all are here today. Welcome to the 42nd meeting of the year. Can you hear me? Maybe I just need to talk louder. Okay. Get nice and close with the microphone. Anyways, happy Friday. It's very nice to see everybody. If y'all will rise, past President Paul Pyrock is going to lead us in the Invocation Pledge and National Anthem.
Anybody aware of any concerns other than Stan passing away?
Now, CC's home, I think.
Okay.
I've talked to him. He was in Baylor still. I talked to him 3 days ago. He was getting out. Same old infection stuff. You get some infection.
So CC Colley getting out of Baylor,
yeah,
we
should
think.
be out by now.
Okay, let's keep him in our prayers. Carl?
Jody Ray's wife, Carolyn, has been in Methodist Hospital for a few days fighting off some pancreatitis.
Okay. Jody Ray's wife at Carolyn, where did you say she was? Methodist, fighting pancreatitis. Okay, if you would bow your heads with me. I'm sorry. One other announcement. I do want to mention Stan Wright's passing. The memorial service was yesterday, and they're trying to get a live stream of the service up on some media. And Lori will send out an email once that's been done. I was there. It was a very nice service. If you can watch it, you should. Okay, if you'd bow your heads with me. Dear Lord, our hearts are breaking. We've witnessed atrocities carried out in Ukraine under the orders of one evil man. Now, even closer to home, we're witnessing atrocities carried out by one boy. Help us to make sense of these terrible acts. Guide us to do what we can for the victims and for their families. Most importantly, don't let these acts deter us from our mission of service. This Memorial Day weekend, we pray for those that gave their lives so that we can live in this great democracy where one man does not have absolute rule. We also pray for the families of those that made the ultimate sacrifice. As we enjoy our own families this weekend, please help us to remember those that are grieving. We pray for the family of Stan Wright, our dear friend and fellow servant. We pray for wisdom and guidance. And we pray that we remember that the great freedom we enjoy comes with great responsibility. It is in your name that we pray. Amen. Amen. All right. You join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous light o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Paul. And now we are going to introduce guests. So if you are a guest, if you and your guests will please stand so that we can make sure that everyone is introduced properly.
Thank you. Well, I am very honored to have two of my grandchildren here today. Actually, Peyton's going to introduce them. They are in school out in Frisco, but not anymore because school's out for the summer.
My name's Peyton, and I'm 9 years old. And this is Addison, and she is 6 years old. And yesterday was her birthday, and she turned 6.
Okay, this is special. We have Kathy Allred here, who is already a Rotarian, but she's a visiting Rotarian. She just moved here to Dallas and is looking for a Rotary Club. Everybody wave. We love her.
Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. I'm Owen Devlin from the Uptown Rotary Club.
This is my wife of 65 years, Beth, which I promoted to driver.
And Herb Ziv.
We got,
Okay, great.
oh, yeah, and Herb.
Let's introduce Herb. He didn't.
Okay, let's stand up, Herb. I don't think you need all that much introduction, but we have added quite a few people since, so.
Hi, my name is Herb Ziv. I was a member of this club for 5 years, and through to a job change, I had to leave, and I'm now in a situation where I can come back, so I'm really pleased to be able to come back and join again and contribute to the club.
Welcome back, Stan. Welcome back, Herb. We're so glad you're here. Thank you. And now Ms. Patsy Watson is going to highlight our PCR Marketplace advertiser, Sarah Ollier.
And I'm glad Sarah had put in parentheses to make sure I pronounce her last name correctly. So it is Ollier. So Sarah Ollier is a board-certified estate planning and probate attorney at Ollier Law Firm, a boutique estate planning firm. Sarah creates wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and family limited partnerships. She enjoys getting to know her estate planning clients. Sarah also probates wills, advises trustees on trust administration, handles guardianships, and creates special needs plans. As a member of a multi-generational farm family, she understands legacy assets and enjoys working with families that have farms, ranches, vacation homes, and family business transition planning. Sarah has been married to her husband, Bob, for 25 years. Bob is a pathologist. Bob and Sarah have 2 children. Evan is studying computer science and cybersecurity at Texas A&M University. And Sophia is a neurobiology major, pre-med, wow, at the University of Wisconsin, Madison, on Wisconsin. Now that's from Sarah, I think. She and Bob are currently enjoying their empty nest status. Who needs an estate plan? Sarah's answer is everyone. Do any of the following apply to you? Newly married, birth of a child, divorced, blended families, never married, no children, family with special needs children. Yeah, that's kind of good. No married, never married. Loved ones with substance abuse issues or that make poor lifestyle choices, looking at retirement in the next 10 years. Is your estate plan more than 7 years old? Yeah, probably. Currently retired, currently facing a health issue, experienced a loss of a spouse, parent, or child, recently received an inheritance or large gift, don't understand a trust that you are the beneficiary of, and are you worried about the federal estate tax and whether it will apply to your estate? If you answered yes to any of those questions, give Sarah a call. And let's all thank, here is her ad right here. Let's all thank Sarah for advertising in our hub. Thank you, Sarah.
Sarah's amazing, and she's, is this better? Yeah. Okay. And Sarah's so amazing, and she responds really fast on her cell phone, even when she's out of town. She's just really fantastic. I see we had another guest come in. William, would you like to introduce your special guest?
Hey, this is Rachel Snyder. She's one of my deputy editors at People Newspapers. Was a Rotarian back when she worked in Oklahoma, and she covers Park Cities for us and a whole lot of other things. So say hi to Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Thank you, William. And now Philip Bankhead is going to tell us about the Happy Bucks for this week. He has a special announcement.
Thank you, Happy. I'm here instead for Sarah, who's actually moving a child up, I think, from her dorm room up to an apartment up in Wisconsin. But anyway, a couple of different announcements. You know that Sarah has done a great job this year with the parade to really lift and highlight the fact that we can raise money in addition to having a fun time with the 4th of July parade here in the Park Cities. And she set kind of a very aggressive goal. I was saying shoot lower, but she came up with 1 million meals to be donated since our club's inception with the parade, and that's kind of pointing to the North Texas Food Bank as a beneficiary. So that's been about 6 or 7 years. So the foundation, I'm here to announce the fact that our local foundation, Rotary Club Park Cities Foundation, made an additional gift of $5,000 to the effort, in addition to the monies that all of May's donations of Happy Bucks are going to that purpose. So actually the count as of today is 969,258 meals that have been donated since our involvement with the Park Cities parade. So that means we are about 31,000 meals short. That's equivalent to about $5,123 more or less. So anyway, it's a great initiative. The club has been very responsive to the goal. We think we can hit it this year. That's the objective. And all additional, so the Happy Bucks as of May, so this will be the last Friday going to that specific objective, would go to this beneficiary. So that's it. Thanks. Are we going to... I'll turn it back over to Happy to let anybody that has Happy Buck announcements to take it from there. Thanks.
Thank you. We appreciate your donations to Happy Bucks. Who has some happy news this week that they're really excited about? We accept any dollar denomination that you feel comfortable with.
All right. This is really a Happy Buck because of Stan Wright, who was so involved with this club for so long and so involved with the North Texas Food Bank, as well as Gore Park activities after the parade. So these are really Happy Bucks for Stan.
Well, Lee, I follow your sentiment. Mine is my grateful bucks for having Stan not only in our lives but in our club and the impact he made on each and every one of us.
Thank you very much, Paige.
Thank you, Barb. Happy Bucks for Stan.
What's that? Peyton's got a happy thing to say.
Yes. I'm happy that I have great teachers, great friends, and great grandparents to take care of us during the summer and not going to daycare.
Oh, wow.
This is also for Stan, and just because I'm happy.
Thank you, Ruth.
So, my two boys, my oldest turns 13 Sunday. My youngest turns 8 next Friday. So we've got birthday parties and stuff. But I'll give, for their combined ages, 21 Happy Bucks. But I only have $1, so I'm going to have to give Philip an IOU.
I've got one. I have to say, this is a contribution for Stan. He did so much for the club, and particularly for the North Texas Food Bank. And also happy on behalf of our son, who's a senior and is graduating tonight at Moody from high school.
Thank you, Jeff. Well, nothing original. Mine's for Stan as well, but I'm happy for his wicked sense of humor and some of the funny things I remember him saying.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy because Jan is coming home next Thursday after 8 weeks in the hospital following her stroke. So we're really excited. She's really excited about it. I'm a little trepidatious, but she'll be home next Thursday, and that's great.
All right. Happy Bucks, of course, for Stan, but I also have friends, the Means and Dufries over in Fort Worth, Rotarians. They have had their second baby, a beautiful Miss Margot. So let's celebrate another baby.
That's awesome. Exciting.
Any more? Okay, mine's for Stan, as everyone's. Thank you very much, I think.
Fantastic. Thank you. And now Chris McNEIll is going to introduce new member Ryan Botzong. Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Okay, well, y'all can come up and tell me how to pronounce your last name.
I didn't know either.
Okay.
So it's a silent B that looks like a P, or sounds like a P. So yeah, that's tricky. So Ryan Putson, he's with 49 Financial. He just graduated Ole Miss last year, moved to Dallas, got connected with me, and said, hey, I want to get plugged in and meet people and learn how to be a part of the community. So I said, you need to come check out Park Cities Rotary. And now here he is. So I'm very happy to have him join us, and all of you getting a chance to meet him.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. Here is your new member folder. We're going to get a picture with you. We are very excited for you. There's a number of things you can do to get your permanent badge. One of those things is to give your new member speech. We're going to have a new member speech here today so you can see that. And we look forward to getting you plugged in. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Get a picture. Who's our photographer today? Super. Congratulations. Thank you both. And now, new member Paul Hoffman is going to give his new member speech. There he is. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Happy. The reason I joined here is I wanted to be part of a group of people who want to give back to the community. That's very obvious. I'm so glad to be part of a group that's so giving and caring. Many of you know that I'm at Agape, and you know, I feel like it's important for us to do what we can for those who are less fortunate than ourselves. And you know, you can look up this Bible passage. My favorite Bible passage is Matthew 25:31. It's where someone's at the gates of heaven, and they're asking, you know, why am I here? And God says back, you know, when people were hungry, you fed them. When people needed health care, you gave them health care. You visited people in prison, and there, by doing that for the least of these, you did it for me. That's basically why I'm here, because I can see that all of you have that credo, and that's what you live by. And so I'm happy to be part of that group with you all, and I want to give back to the community just like you're doing. Thank you.
Paul, so what's something you're really excited about right now? What are your hobbies?
I just started swimming a lot. You know, I paid for college through running. You know, I started running when I was in junior high. And a year ago, I ran the Texas Independence Relay and really messed up my knee. And I realized it was like a wake-up call. If I kept on running, I was going to need knee replacement at some point. So it was like I had this light bulb go off. You know, it's healthier to swim. Now I have to watch pushing off because I realize my right toe is a little bit sore because I've been pushing off with my right foot. And I realize I need to stretch my shoulders a little bit more because even with swimming, you can get injured. I'm swimming about 1.5 miles, 3 days a week now over at Highland Park High School. So I'm glad to do that. I think it's something I can do till I'm 90.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm excited about my son coming to town. He just is turning 30. He's up in Ann Arbor doing his residency in anesthesia. And he just told me last night he was going to come home for a few days. So I'm excited about that as well. And then my daughter's expecting twins 2 months from now. So I'm very excited about that because I'll be a granddad. She's expecting a boy and a girl. So have a lot of things to be blessed about. Thank you.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And now Mr. Eric Harrison is going to tell us about the Legacy of Leadership's 2022 project at Attitudes and Attire.
Thank you very much, Happy. On behalf of the entire cohort of the Legacy of Leadership group this year, I just want to say thank you for, we've got a great amount of accessories that were brought today, and we're wrapping up. Today is the last day. If for some reason you were like, oh gosh, I had that box in the garage, let me know. I can pay. We're not going to deliver everything until next week to Attitudes and Attire. And most importantly, we're still working on the list of the, help me, Kristen. Speakers Bureau, thank you. And we've already gotten connected with Attitudes and Attire with a number of great speakers, but if you have a talent or a skill that you have that you would like to donate for the purpose of helping women, by all means, please let us know, because we want to. And the other great news is we have a new member, Miss Lynn Berman, the executive director, is going to be joining our club as a result of the generosity and everything that she's seen us do. So she let me know this week that Karen Ferris is going to get her plugged into our club. One more real quick thing. It's a Peyton and Addison show today. Girls, come here. I want them to share with you something they did on behalf of our accessory drive. Will you tell us what you guys did?
We went to our neighbors and our friends' houses, and we asked our mom for some stuff to give. And we it took a little while, but they came and they got us a lot of stuff for it.
That is so great. Thank you. A couple of future Rotarians right here, huh? Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a bag in my car from Jennifer Hammond, and Kathy Allred has a bag that she needs assistance with, so if I can get somebody from Legacy of Leadership to help get that after the meeting, that would be awesome. Very exciting. Some quick announcements. Dues are due May 31st. Pay now to avoid the $25 late fee that starts on June 1st. We have Evan Altimus here. We're going to have the Dallas Memorial March this weekend. There's 2 different times that you can sign up for. Sunday, May 29th from 12 to 2, or Monday, May 30th from 8 to 10. I've signed up. Ian and I are going to be there. We'd love for y'all to join us. It's going to be a really fun memorial walk. And the deadline to register and pay for next week's luncheon is Tuesday, May 31st. We're going to be at the Park City Club. It's going to be a tremendous luncheon. Sarah and Bobby have just gone all out planning this luncheon. It's going to be a lot of fun. So go ahead and sign up and pay now. And then finally, we need some volunteers for the transportation team. We have a couple members that are wanting to come back, but they need a ride. I would love to develop a schedule so that somebody is just providing a ride like once or twice a month. So let me know if you'd like to join and do that so we can get those members back at our club. And I am really thrilled to introduce our speaker of the day. Ms. Paige McDaniel is a longtime friend. She is a longtime member of the Junior League of Dallas. She is the president and CEO of the Community Partners of Dallas. She's going to be talking to us about leadership in tough times. She's done a lot of leadership training, and with our club's involvement with our Legacy of Leadership, I thought this was really a timely, fun topic. I've already heard her presentation before. It's really fun and great. You're really going to enjoy it. She's the president and CEO of Community Partners of Dallas. Community Partners of Dallas was founded in 1989. It's been replicated in over 155 cities throughout Texas. As CEO, she's responsible for the administration of the agency's 4 programs, including the Rainbow Room and Emergency Resource Center, providing essential items to children in transition to foster relative care. More than 15,000 children are served by the Community Partners of Dallas. She was recognized as a Texan with character by CBS 11 as a longtime member and volunteer at Highland Park United Methodist Church. Without any further ado, let's welcome Miss Paige. You're in for a treat.
I think she built this up a little more than I would have asked for, but I sure hope that I can entertain you for a little while. Whenever I am asked to speak, I always say yes because I was a theater major. And, you know, in fact, you know how most people during COVID, they didn't like having to be on Zoom. I loved being on Zoom because I just got to look at myself on television the whole time. I would just talk and, you know, I just got to, so I will say I do have that bug in me. But when I thought about talking about leadership, for me, I have to start back when, how I started. I am from Dallas. I grew up here. I went to Highland Park High School, and I went to college where I was the theater major at Southwestern University in Georgetown, Texas, which I loved. But then, as my dad told me, I got a degree in basket weaving. That I had no skills after I got that Bachelor of Fine Arts, and what was I going to do with that? So, you know, really it's true. I didn't know what to do. I did a lot of different things. Of course, everyone, the only thing I never did was work at a restaurant. My mother would not allow that. But I worked retail. I did a lot of, I worked at a bank once. It was horrible. They hated me. I hated them. It was terrible. And when you're a theater major, let's just be honest, you didn't take math. I didn't take an entire math class in college, not one. Because for a Bachelor of Fine Arts, the trade-off was foreign language or science. I was way better at foreign language or science than math. So anyway, I did a bunch of different things, but I always kind of was looking for something, and I didn't know what that was. And so my dad ended up, it was back when they had elected members, he ended up getting elected to the State Board of Education, Texas Board of Education, and actually Cindy Cummings' husband Ken was his treasurer for his campaign way back when, and he won. So he ended up kind of meeting some people at the State Department of Education and at the National Department of Education, and he kind of made me volunteer when they had the Republican National Convention here when Ronald Reagan was running, so I was a volunteer for that. And so because I did that, I thought, well, maybe it would be fun to go live in Washington because I was the theater major, so I always wanted to live in New York, but I was afraid. But Washington was a big city, and you could take your car. So I was like, okay, I think I want to go move to Washington. And so my dad helped me, and I ended up going to move to Washington, and I worked for the Department of Education, and William Bennett, I don't know if y'all know him, but William Bennett was the Secretary of Education. And I got just a job as an assistant, a secretary in the legislative office. And it was really fun. I loved Washington. It's so beautiful. It's just, they keep it beautiful all the time. So I did that. And then that was part of the last year of the Reagan administration. And then when Bush won, even though it was the same Republican administration, I was a political appointee for Reagan, so we all had to resign. But William Bennett ended up getting a job in the Bush administration also as the, well, it wasn't a secretary job then, but it was the director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy. So he took some of us with him to the new office for the Drug Control Policy Office. And what is really interesting, a lot of people don't know, is when they start a new agency in D.C., you don't have office space right away usually. So the very first office of National Drug Control Policy was in this random building at DuPont Circle above the Colombian consulate. It was super secret because everyone knew that the drug cartels, if they found out, they could get their consulate and the head drug guy with one bomb. So my mom got a little scared during that too. But finally, they moved our office into a nicer office building, closer to the executive office. And we were part of the executive office of the president. So my best claim to fame in high school is when we had, I guess it was the 10-year high school reunion, I got to go and on the book that they make for the high school reunion, you say what your job is and your address. So I could just put Paige McDaniel, the White House, Washington, D.C., even though our office wasn't in the White House across the street, but the mailroom was in the White House. So anyway, so I did that. I came home when Clinton won because he didn't want me. So I came back home and I did a bunch of random jobs. Like I said, I worked retail. I worked for a wholesale jewelry company. But the whole time, all of these jobs, I always loved being a volunteer. And mostly through the Junior League, as Happy mentioned. And so I loved that. I loved it because I could do something different every year. And so I was working for a wholesale jewelry company, and I had to call. The earring they had ordered for their catalog was going to be late, and I had to call and tell them that the earring was going to be late. And I was just like, terrible. I knew they would be upset, rightly so, horrible. I just had all this stress, and just all of a sudden I went, you know what? If I have to get this stressed out about something, I want it to be about something more than an earring. Because in the grand scheme of life, an earring doesn't matter. So that day, I told my boss that I wanted to go try to find a job working for a nonprofit. And he was like, okay. So he was on our board at Community Partners of Dallas, actually. But anyway, as time went on. So I got a job. My first nonprofit job was working for the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, which I loved, and doing lots of events for their major donors, which for the symphony, a major donor at the time was $2,000 a year, and I did the events for the $2,000 donors and the $10,000 donors, and of course my boss did the events for the really big donors, but it was fun. And then I ended up getting a job at Wipe Out Kids Cancer, which is a fundraising organization that helps children pediatric cancer research at Children's Medical Center, and Cindy Brinker Simmons was the founder of that. I loved that also, but after a while, I was on the board of the Junior League, and one of the people there who was on the board with me said, you know what, I think I want to look for another job. Do you know anything? And she goes, I do. Oh my gosh, I know the perfect job for you. And so it was the job I have now as the CEO at Community Partners of Dallas. And I interviewed for the job, and at the time, this is, nepotism at its finest, I have to say, but one of my best friends was the board chairman of the agency. Lynn McBee was the board chairman of the agency, and so they hired me. And they interviewed a lot of people, I do want to say that. And this was back when, it was 20 years ago, I just celebrated 20 years in the same job. If you can imagine, did all these different things for relatively short periods of time and finally got to do 20 years in the same job. So it is the one, for sure, for me. But this was back when, like Lynn told me later, she said, when I talked to the executive committee about hiring you, I told them that you needed to have health insurance. And one of the women on the committee said, well, why do we have to provide that? And Lynn said, her name was Tara. Lynn said, I remember her name. Lynn said, well, Tara, doesn't PricewaterhouseCoopers provide health insurance for you? She goes, well, yeah. And she said, well, we need to do it for these people that work for us too. So, lots of things in the 20 years that have happened at the agency I have been lucky enough to be part of, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm going to try to talk a little bit about community partners and then into leadership, because community partners helps children involved with child protective services. I was not abused. I had a wonderful life. I love it. I really did have a great childhood. But for some reason, when I got to that agency, I knew immediately that I was in the right place, and I could tell the story of these children. And I understood what they were living with. And the thing that is key, and this is what Community Partners does differently than a lot of other charities that help abused children, is we do our work through the caseworkers of Child Protective Services. Those CPS staff members, primarily women, there are some men, but it's primarily women. In Dallas County, there are about 800 staff members just for Dallas County. There will be, at Community Partners of Dallas, we will serve 15 to 20,000 children a year. And those are children at all stages. They could be teacher calls in, child is dirty, coming to school over and over, an investigator goes out, visits that home, and they may decide that this is fine, we just need to help them with additional things. We do that. Oh, this family needs to move into another apartment. This one is infested. We do that. And of course, we help the children who've been part of the worst types of abuse, which you all know what that means. The reason that we do this, and we did a big capital campaign not long ago, big building that's fantastic. We raised $10.5 million to make this wonderful building, and it's kind of right over on the other side of Love Field. And when you see it, you walk in and it just looks happy. And we have children who come there and spend the night. There are caseworkers who work overnight shift from 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. each morning. They work at our offices. And when the children arrive, they may have left squalor, but they walk into a place that is beautiful, and they can tell it was meant for them. So that's a big part of our work, and the clothes and the shoes and the hygiene products, everything. But the other thing that we did when we had the ability to have this big building and to do something that really moved the needle, because unfortunately, I wish I could say that that we could eradicate child abuse. We can't. That won't happen. But what we can do is try to help the children who come into care. And this is a national statistic, and Happy said you have a PowerPoint. I was like, no PowerPoint. I didn't know there'd be so many of y'all, and I'm sorry about that. So I have one little chart here. I should have given it to you. But this is a national statistic, but if a child has a single caseworker for a year, so one caseworker for that child for a year, that child has a 74% chance of finding a forever home in that year. If the child has 2 caseworkers in a year, which that happens all the time, there are so many children, and so caseworkers, it's hard work, they quit, they get promoted, they leave, they move, that happens all the time. If that same child has 2 caseworkers in that year, they only have a 17% chance of finding a forever home. So it goes from 74% to 17%. And if the child has 3 caseworkers, they only have a 5% chance of finding a forever home in that year. So we really, because we had this building that we could try to do something wonderful in, we have done that. So we have a fabulous space for the caseworkers to come. And, you know, all of this, I know as sure as I'm standing here that God was in every decision that, well, for sure, that we've ever made at Community Partners, because not knowing COVID was coming, we made this space for the caseworkers to come and sit down and work, not knowing really that it would be imperative. Caseworkers spend a lot of time in their cars. They were working at McDonald's. They're meeting the children on their caseloads in just really horrible circumstances. And it's ugly and it's gross. And now they have a place that's beautiful. We have snacks. Lexus gives us fruit for the case. We try to have all kinds of snacks and Cokes and water and all that. But we have fruit because we want to give healthy things, but we also have the chips and the candy too. It's very popular. I would say probably a little more popular than the fruit. But we have all things for them. We have a workout room, everything, because if you've never worked for the government, you probably don't know, but there's not even a water cooler for you. So we provide all of that for the caseworkers, and it's fantastic. We also started a program in February because when we talk to caseworkers and ask them, why do you stay? We want them to stay. Why do you stay? Many of them said, the reason I stay is I have a good supervisor. My supervisor is great. I wouldn't leave her, or I can't leave him. They're fantastic. So we started a program. Happy mentioned this. I have had a lot of leadership training. I don't know if y'all have ever, if you know Jennifer Hilton Sampson, or if you've ever had her come and speak to you. She's the head of United Way. And one day I was sitting next to her at lunch. I was like, "Are you in a training thing for it?" She goes, "Paige, I'm always in a training thing." But I love being in leadership and in kind of working with other women, other men, people who do the work. But so I've been doing that a long time. So I knew that if we could have the workers at CPS are really in singular jobs. And if they don't have an office, because they took their offices away, they don't have a place to go where they can go, "Oh, hey, Kelly, do you know, I've got a dad on the run. Do you know where I could find him? Do you have any ideas of how I could look for him?" If they're not seeing one another, that's hard. So we made the space for them. But for those supervisors, we decided to have a program called a Supervisor Leadership Training Program. And so they are meeting. And when we first started talking about it, we're doing a pilot. Because, you know, whenever you're doing something, if you call it a pilot, that's the best way. Because if it doesn't work, you can say, well, it was a pilot. But so we did a pilot. We have two of these groups going on. They each have 10 people in them. And we hired a leader who's got her doctorate in therapy, and we're doing all these different things. And before it started, Christy, do y'all know Christy Hoagland Robinson? Anyway, Christy and I went out to dinner one night, and I was telling her about this because the Hoagland Foundation's one of our favorite sponsors. Just love them. And I was telling Christy about it, and I said, I don't know if they're going to come. Like, we're going to do it, but are they going to come? And she goes, well, why don't you pay them? And I said, well, I wish we could, but if a person is a government employee, you can only give them $50. So we cannot pay them. Obviously, we provide lunch. But they are coming. We have a meeting once a month, and they're coming. And the other day, this has been one of the things that stuck with me the most. The other day, one of the people in the room went to the group and said, and these are all supervisors, and said, I had one of my workers call me a couple of days ago and said she was at a school, and how was she going to find the door to go in, to get in the school, which after Uvalde, ugh. And the other, you know, supervisors around the table were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is a person doing work and they can't figure out how to find a door that they can knock on or ring the bell. And one of the other supervisors said, look, I teach my people this. If the question starts with, how do I, they need to call a coworker and get their coworker to give them the answer. If the question starts with, may I or can I, they need to call me. And I thought, that is the easiest, simplest thing for anyone to remember. So that's all I'm going to say about Community Partners. We are a great organization. If y'all ever want to come and do a tour, I'd love to have you. I know I need to switch on because we got you here by saying I was going to talk about leadership, so I am. Like I said, I've been at Community Partners for 20 years, and I think a lot about how big company CEOs of not nonprofits, but real companies get paid a lot of money, ridiculous amounts of money. And the reason is that they do something that most of us avoid, and it is that they have to make decisions. And it is hard, but it's the core of the job to make those decisions over and over. Do you shut down a plant? Do you open a new store? Do you create a new division? Or for me, a new program? Do you hire new people? Or for me, the worst part is firing people. So those are the decisions that leaders have to make. And I know you all know this because you are that. But it's the stuff that keeps you up at night. This type of work, though, for an organization, for a business, provides the most value. And a lot of us don't do this because we don't have to make decisions, or we put them off, or we just ignore them, and we just keep going. But COVID has changed a lot of what we had to do during leadership. And for me, I tried to think about, oh my gosh, the Great Resignation. We used to not ever have trouble hiring employees, and we would put it up, and you know, we're nonprofit, we don't pay very much, but we still didn't have any trouble hiring people. But now we'll put out what is considered like a great job in a nonprofit, which would be a volunteer person working with volunteers, or someone doing programs, or even a new person in the development office. We would have tons of great people apply. Now we'll have maybe one application. So it's very difficult. And then with the Great Resignation, with all of the Gen Z, the Gen X, whatever is next, I don't know. I can't understand it. I don't know why they're not working. I don't get it. But this is how I survived, and I would say thrived. When we were at home, and we were shut down, we always had employees that worked because we provide programs. So we shut down for 1 week only, and then we had people go back to work. This was way at the beginning, of course. We had people go back to work part-time because we have to provide services for those children. Even though we know that CPS numbers were going down, we still had children who need help. So we never closed. But a lot of people, I was working at home, our development department was working at home, a lot of the administrative people, of course. So we did Zooms. I had, and like I said, I like seeing myself, but I had on my chair behind my Zoom thing, I put a crown right above my head on the wall behind me. So whenever I was on the Zoom, for anyone, not just for the staff, for anybody, I had a crown above my head because that made me happy, and I liked it, and I thought it was hilarious. I also did a morning video every single morning for my staff and sent it to them and asked them a question. And sometimes it was me singing a song, mostly without makeup on, so you're so grateful that I have it on today, I know. But during that time, of course, I was doing these funny, crazy things. I would dance, and anyway, so I did that every day. And then, now that we've come back to the office, because we've been back full-time now for a year, everybody, I didn't want that to go away, that feeling of camaraderie. So every Monday morning, we have what I call a check-in cheer. And we all come down, and we go around the circle, and we pass it around, but somebody brings an inspirational quote from anyone. And then we ask a question, we go around and snap, 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 and this next person says what their answer is, and snap, snap, snap. And then we always end it with our quote from Dolly Parton, which is, "You can't change the world," and then everyone says, "but you can change the world you're living in." And of course now I have lots of Dolly Parton t-shirts and quotes because they know I love it. All right, so that was one way that I kind of got through it. The next thing was, I think as the leader, you really need to care for yourself. So relaxing, how do you do it? For me, reading, I love novels, I read a lot. I'm in a book club from the Junior League. I do meditation. In fact, I led meditation on Zoom for the caseworkers during COVID, which was fun. I'm not a teacher, I've never been, but the staff wanted to do it, and they wanted us to hire someone to lead meditation. I was like, I can lead meditation. What do you have to know to do that? And so I did. So I can lead us right now in meditation if you wish, but let's go on. Then I also really got into books on Audible. If you haven't done that, oh my gosh, so many of them are super interesting. And really, it takes me 30 minutes to get to work and 30 minutes to get home. So I can listen to an hour of a book every day. I can kind of finish a book in a week, which is fun. And I love the mysteries because there's always, it makes you want to get in the car, go drive, which I guess with the gas pricing, maybe that's not such a good idea right now. I don't need to spend extra gas. And of course, as all, TV binging, fabulous. For 2022, and I know we're almost halfway in, yeah, we are. But for 2022, one of my friends did a thing. She did 22 goals for 2022. And so she sent her list to me and to some other friends, and then we all kind of did our own list. So here are some of my things. And the first one is my very favorite, 22 bottles of wine. And Jill, it's my friend Jill B., and she said, she told her trainer this, and her trainer goes, 22? That's not enough. So it's just a low goal on that one. But 22 bottles of wine, 22 walks, again, low goal. These are, I like to, whenever I have a goal, I like to make it one I can really meet. 22 new donors, so I hope y'all will help me with that one this morning. 22 live theater events or concerts, 22 dances in the kitchen, 22 acts of kindness, 22 new restaurants. Oh my gosh, there's so many new restaurants all the time, which is fun. 22 girls' lunches, 22 new recipes, 22 mornings by the fire, those kinds of things. So I have a list of 22 things, and I'm really trying to go through them. The other thing that I did, and I read this from somebody, can't remember, I read a lot, but they said that instead of waking up and flipping on the TV or waking up, grabbing your cell phone, that the first thing this person did was they went outside and saw the morning and felt the outdoors. And so I've been doing that. And it really is a great way to start the day, where before I would have immediately gotten connected. So those are my tips, my tricks. And I'm so grateful that you had me today. I'm happy to answer questions if you have any. I think I'm about on time, but maybe not.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
You're good. Well, I got a question. I'll start it off while I'm looking for somebody else. Janice Jacks had jurisdiction of the
Judge
of the
Jack.
foster
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
down in Corpus.
Yeah.
She holds the state in contempt. They comply a little bit. They backslide.
Yeah.
She does it again. What's our problem in Texas with foster care?
You know, I wish I knew, and of course that's not my purview. The founders of our organization were Emmy Lou Baldridge and Mimi Huey. And if y'all know Emmy Lou, she is a tough Texas woman. And every once in a while, I will see Emmy Lou somewhere, and I'll say, Emmy Lou, I think we should start an orphanage. I know I could do better. I know I could do better. But the world, the education, those who know, they say that it's better for children to live with a family. But where they're having the problems are those group homes. There are a lot, and I'm sure y'all have heard there are children sleeping in CPS offices. A lot of that is, these are older children who no one wants. They have had a lot of, and I'm not saying that's just only those kids, but it is mostly those kids. It's teenagers. They do not, as another caseworker told me once, they're the kind that might burn your house down. They are so far gone. They're on psychotropic medications. And this is what is crazy to me. And I have talked to legislators about this too. They cannot tell that teenager, you are going to this home. The child can refuse the placement. And of course, they think it's more fun to sleep at the CPS office with a bunch of other kids, teenagers. So I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I wish there would. I wish I knew what the solution was, and I don't.
And I don't want to dominate. But does money help? I mean, we have a surplus. We're going into a new legislative session in January. We've got a surplus, and I'll be surprised if anything happens, to be honest. But anyway,
thank you.
Other
for saying
questions?
that.
Any questions?
Oh, greater stability. What can we do to promote greater stability in the family and to promote adoption? I think just you saying that is a wonderful thing. It is very, but it is hard to be a foster home. If y'all know Mike and Allison Malone, Mike is a big wig at the Richards Group, and they decided to become foster parents. They're friends of mine, live in University Park. And Mike told me one time, he said, Paige, if parents had to go through this training before they had their own children, there would be a population this instead of this. It's very hard to go through the training to be a foster parent. I know that, but that's a great way to get started if you're interested in perhaps adopting. I think everybody knows it's the older kids that don't get adopted because people want babies. And the state of Texas and all over the United States, they want to keep a child with family. So they are always going to try to place a child with a relative or what they call a fictive kin, so a friend, a family, because it's been proven that the children do better if they stay with family. But please adopt. I wish you would. I used to say that to my mom, like, I can't believe I live in a great school district. I feel like, and I'm single, I feel like I should adopt a child. And my mother said, Paige, you cannot even take care of yourself. You're always calling me for $20 to get lunch, which is true. But that was a long time ago. I'll have to look at Cindy over that. But, well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paige. A book is being placed. Oh, no, stay up here real quick. Oh, okay. Yeah. No rush. Thank you so much for speaking to us today. A book is being placed at your honor at McShann Elementary.
Oh, I would love that. Which one?
I don't know, but it's going to be a good one. I love that.
Okay, well, I have one I can donate
Oh,
at my home.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Okay.
We'd love to make that happen.
Yes, my friend Barbara Zale had a book she loved. It's called something about the Picky Peter's Eaters or something. So I bought 3 copies. She just passed away, and I brought 3 copies, and I don't know what I'm going to do with them. So I'm
that'd be
happy to
amazing.
donate it. Yes.
Thank you so much, and we'll get a picture.
Thank you.
We'll get a picture after the meeting. Thank you, Paige. A couple other quick things. We have another guest here today, John Gully with Dallas Uptown Rotary. Thank you for visiting today. And yes, and we introduced Owen earlier. Yes. And Kathleen, where's Kathleen? So she has the Rotary shirt. So if you need a new shirt, you lost your shirt, you need a different size. Or if you're a new member and you need your shirt, come see Kathleen. They're right over there. And shirts are $40. And hats, shirts and hats. Great. And sign up today to join us this weekend for the Memorial March. That's going to be a really special experience. You don't want to miss out on that. And next week's meeting, we're going to have our Grand Marshal Luncheon honoring Donna Pierce, a teacher for 40-plus years at Highland Park. It's going to be really fabulous meeting her. It's going to be a really special lunch. You won't want to miss that. The chair of the day is Bobby Quick and Sarah Ollier. And so now we have a lot of board members here. If you're an incoming or an outgoing board member, if you'll please stand. Great. We have a lot of prospective members here. If you're interested in joining today, please see one of us so we can get you signed up. Thank you. And now, Mr. Paul Hoffman, with his new permanent badge, is going to come on up and recite the 4-way test. Please rise. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Happy. I'm going to say this first part for myself. The 4-way test is an ethical guide for Rotarians to use for their personal and professional relationships. The test has been translated in more than 100 languages, and Rotarians recite it at club meetings. Please recite with me. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
You can hit this thing. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. No, you can hit it with this thing.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Great to see you. How's everything going?
Welcome, Paul. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely.